I believe. Hello, it's Gareth at Cosmic Toys. Here we are with the third episode. I'm now adding Ed from Vaults of Iacon and Andy from Excelsior's Domain. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
So enthusiastic.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we? As if we haven't already had this chat.
All good. I'm doing my Star Trek 3 fly pass now. Look.
Wait, I only spoke to you earlier on.
Excellent. Hey, we already have a chat. Hello, Guzzy. Hey, you joining us again?
This is a Star Trek 3 Enterprise as well, I'll have you know. I'm on theme, me.
Oh, I thought that was the Hot Wheels one.
1701.
This is the no A, B, C, D, E, F, or G.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, it's a refit.
This is the Ertl, yes. This is the Ertl Enterprise refit.
Very good, very good.
From the search for
I don't have any toys to hand. No, I have.
Behind you. Okay.
No, sorry, a back plane.
Back wing, yeah. Yeah, there'll be all the rage shortly. All the 89 Batmobiles will be new again.
Yes, they will. They're already sold out.
I'm not surprised.
The McFarlane Toys Batmobile has already sold out everywhere. I never received my stock.
I got my Lego one, so I'm happy. It's fine. I've had that sat on my shelf for a while. Engaged.
I've had mine sat on top of the wardrobe for a while.
Mode engaged. Yes, mine's on a Billy bookshelf.
A Billy bookshelf. IKEA doing well.
Yeah.
Guzzy's already chimed in with he was going to watch some G1 Season 3, but we've saved him the pain, and Season 3 is a pain. In fact, I don't think I made my way through it. Seasons 1 and 2, the struggle.
It's yes. Galvatron with the naff voices on, isn't it?
Yes. It wasn't Leonard Nimoy, was it?
When Frank Welker took over.
Yeah.
Leaned into the insanity a bit.
He did a good Megatron. And silence.
It went odd in Season 3, as I recall. It's when the great cash-in had begun. They'd killed off all the previous generation, and they were bringing in all the next ones. So,
I decided to change my mind on the name of the episode, as you might have noticed. I decided to go with Revenge of the Thrift. Because I thought it might lead into a decent discussion on how people collect on a budget. Because let's face it, these toys are getting expensive. More and more expensive with every new release, it seems. So what lengths do you two go to get things as cheap as you possibly can?
Well, it depends. You see, as long as it looks reasonable, I'm not too fussed about things being in minty boxes, because if I'm going to do anything with it, I'm probably going to either chat about it on a video or just display it.
Mm-hmm.
So a box for me isn't be all and end all, which I guess immediately cuts down the price. It's not to say I wouldn't pick up a nicer one if I had a particularly battered version of something, but you know. Yeah.
You don't tend to collect new, though, do you?
No, not massively, no. I mean, the sort of stuff that I'm going for tends to be with a nostalgia in mind, but for me it tends to be childhood nostalgia, which means I need to get the original.
Yes.
So I haven't quite moved into... I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I do see some lovely stuff. So, like, some of my earliest videos were actually Diamond Select, like black hole figures and stuff like that, because obviously they were old but new, or something newer than I would normally get, because the older toys didn't really exist for those.
Right.
But now obviously they only exist in re-released or modern formats, so that's when I would tend to get ones that are boxed. And all my Eagle Moss stuff has been first hand, you know, when Eagle Moss was still alive. But it's my sort of my dinkies and my cool are older. They're quite nice to get as well. They're not.
You've broken up a bit there, Excelsior. Oh, you're back again.
Okay.
Okay.
Not doing anything else, I don't think. So it might just be my connections wibbly.
Okay, possibly.
Are we using as made-up names or as real names?
Do we have made-up names?
Well, you know what I mean. Am I calling you Cosmic? Am I calling him Excelsior? You're calling me Twat? Sorry, Vault.
What would you like to be called?
I don't give a monkeys. I'm meaning more of. I know you know what I'm called, and I know what you're called.
I think everyone knows that I'm Gareth.
I'm Andy, so.
Right, cool.
My secret identity is revealed. That's fine, yeah.
Are we all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to show whether or not we were using as names or as, like I said, pretend names.
Pretend names.
Our superhero names.
Yes.
Well, currently we're all Clark Kent. But we could become Superman at any moment.
Yes. Somebody's complaining about the intro in the chat, I noticed.
Yes.
What?
It was Guzzy. What did he say?
It was like a brick to the head.
Well, I'll try and find one a little bit more toned down, especially for you, Guzzy. He has said that he's backed the HasLab G.I. Joe Dragonfly. That's that big, massive helicopter that's just gone up for Kickstarter, hasn't it?
It is.
Thank you, Rolando, for joining us. Hope you're driving safely.
That's King Rolo.
Hey. Guzzy had never watched the cartoon as a kid. That's obviously he's talking about Transformers. So he's going through it for the first time now.
That's bad.
It's very corny and cringe.
Oh, well.
Take one guess which his favourite episode is so far. And it's got to involve fembots.
That would be War. Is it War Dawn? Dawn of War? Start of
Yeah,
War?
there's another
Early
one.
Doors
There's
War.
War Dawn, but there's another one where you get the team up with. I can't even remember the names.
I know there's
Elite
one.
And the right
Yeah, there's Elite one, and then there might be Chromia or I don't know, Karen and
Karen.
I don't know. I ain't got a clue. It's not my bag, but yeah, there is an episode where it shows you them all, but I don't even know what season it's in. Actually, to be fair.
Okay. Well, Rolando has very kindly shared links for both of you guys.
Marvelous, thank you.
But yeah, Guzzy's open to most things, so he doesn't mind boxless. And I know that because he's bought boxless ones off me.
You see, that's the. I like a nice box, mate.
You can't beat a nice tidy box.
Yeah, nice tidy box.
His only exception has been the only human RC and reaction RC. Yeah, the packaging is part of the item on the reaction. It definitely is. I had this discussion with someone today.
Right, three-quarter things on the.
I appreciate it. I appreciate a box if I happen to have it.
Yes. Search for Alpha Training Season 2.
That's the one.
Search for Alpha Training.
And I believe at that point we are up to date with the comments. So yeah, as for collecting on a budget, what do you do, Eddie? Ed.
Me?
Yes.
On a budget?
Yes.
How very dare you, sir?
What do you do to try and keep those purse strings a little tighter? Are there certain places that you look for them? Do you wait for bargains?
It depends. I mean, I don't buy that much now. As you know, it's just to buy to replace and upgrade. So usually I'll bung pre-orders in, when depending on which site I go to, there's loyalty systems in place and that, so you might get a few % off and things like that. But I don't know. The thing is, I mean, with me, I'm not really. I've more been. It's more about. Well, it's more a loyalty to a supplier, really. When I choose a supplier, most of the suppliers that I've chosen have been really good. They've been great chaps. I use people like Pow or Megalock, Shozy. So I use those people. I know the people that run them. I have dialogues with them and things like that, and the great guys, and try and support them where I can, and it's so I don't mind paying a fair price. Most retailers now are quite fair price. It's usually if you just go aftermarket or eBay or things like that you start looking at prices that aren't really in line with what they should be really. But no, I mean, to be fair, I think most of the stuff that I've got recently has been a case of because I've sold things, and then when I sell things, the money that I get from selling them gets put to one side. I do actually have a separate kind of like, not account, but I have a separate sub account with the bank that I use, and that money is solely set aside for me collecting. So if I need something, that's what I dip into to use. That's what I use to buy the things that I want. So, I mean, I don't, you what? Sorry.
You are far too well trained.
Well,
it's just years of experience. That's all. I think you can get bargains depending on what groups also that you're in. Like say, certain Facebook groups. I know from the other side of me collecting, the retro gaming, the Spectrum stuff. The Spectrum community and Sinclair community out there are absolutely amazing. I've been in that community now for years, and I've yet to come across a dickhead or someone who acts like an idiot. They're just really.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, they're not like Who fans. They're not like Star Wars fans. They're not like some Star Trek fans or Transformer fans. They're just really good bunch of guys, and
I've got a theory on that.
They never screw each other over. So if someone's got a game, it's always a fair price, or it's like a price that they'd want to pay. So it's a case of, and they help each other out. So if someone says, "Oh, I'm after this is how much I've got," they'll be like, "All right, yeah, cool, yeah, we know this guy, he'll help you out." And so there's nothing like that. The only thing that's happened recently is that you've had like the eBay sellers finding the ways into the group, and they post the sort of like, "How much is this worth?" kind of posts, and then they'll get a valuation on it. Then they'll just up sticks, disappear, and put it on eBay. So it's like, there's that dishonesty there from that part, but not from the members. But yeah, so it's just, I think it can be done to collect on a budget, but I just think at the moment, I was discussing this with someone else not long back. I think if you're coming into the hobby now, depending on what franchise it is you're following, I think it's going to be quite hard to collect on a budget.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing that I found out that's nearly got me into a bit of mischief, was that as helpful as it can be, do you know that on eBay, if you're paying with PayPal, you can do a sort of pay in 3 option?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's bloody unlimited.
Right.
So I once looked at it and went, "Whoa, I've got like 23 paying 3 plans going." And it's like, that adds up. And nowhere on the app or on the website that I found does it actually give you a running total of how much is going to be going out each month. It's not like a credit card bill. So you do have to really watch it, because before long, you buy some the month before, some the month before, and you come to the next month, and all of a sudden you've still got a lot of things still to go out, and it's not telling you how much is going to come out. So I thought, ooh, that's a bit of a trap for the unwary. That if you don't realise what you've built up and you're not keeping an eye on it, you could actually be letting a lot go each month. So you've got to take it steady. You really have, because otherwise you do get yourself in a bit of bother on that one. So I've had to sort of throttle back a bit. But the other interesting thing I found with eBay is that more often than not these days, if it's on a buy it now and you start watching it, the odds are you'll probably get a discount almost immediately offered to you. So the price you see is not necessarily the price you will end up paying. So if you're just patient, you say, right, I'm going to watch it. Give it 24 hours. If the seller's awake, you might well find that you get an offer on it. In which case, you might end up getting it cheaper than you might otherwise have got it. So I think it's worth that pause. I mean, it does run the risk, of course, that somebody else comes in and buys it and it's gone. I mean, that's that is what it is. But it can be worth waiting.
Okay, that's interesting. No, I want to go back to something Ed said about the Spectrum Facebook groups and how he hadn't found a dickhead. They were all really great guys and gals, maybe, I don't know. And I think it's a generational thing. There's no... I can imagine that when it comes to the Spectrum groups, it's going to be quite a tight...
What?
The gene pool will be quite...
Yeah, I don't imagine that
the
Spectrum games collecting will have moved on past a certain age. No, I think that a lot of the drama... No, this isn't an insult at all. This isn't an insult at all. I think a lot of the drama that you get online, I think, comes from a certain amount of the younger fandom. And I can't imagine that most of those knobheads, if we're going to start using foul language, I can't imagine most of those will be Spectrum game collectors. That are worried about hurt feelings and things like that, and I can get this cheaper somewhere else, and I can go and do this. I don't think that you're going to get that in your generation of gaming collectors. So you see, I weren't leading to anything derogatory about your generation at all.
No, sorry. Say that again. Say that again. So what were you saying?
Well, you mentioned that when you were collecting your Spectrum games, that all the people in the Facebook groups were really, really helpful, and they were all there as a community. They were all helping each other out, and everything was reasonably priced. I think it's because of you're all of the same generation. Probably a very, very similar mindset, and you're preaching to the choir, essentially. All of you are singing from not preaching to the choir, singing from the same hymn sheet.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be much of the drama that you would normally get in a lot of other groups.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, but I suppose.
Just pick one as an example. Marvel Legends.
We're all Gen Xers. We're also on that, and we're all, close to or maybe over 50. And it's just like you just can't be asked any of that.
I think it's a lot to do with that.
Yeah. So you could be right, but then, well, actually, no, I was going to say, but then if you think about Doctor Who fans, they're probably even older, but maybe those Doctor Who fans don't go on social media.
Possibly, but I think it's a multi-generational thing, and that's why you have such a problem. You've got people from such a wide variety of backgrounds with their own opinions on things, and their opinion means more than your opinion.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the drama. We're all entitled to these opinions, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it's when everyone starts thinking that their opinions are better or more valid than someone else's. And that's why you get the drama online.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even before the internet and things like that, I can remember in like some of the fan magazines and that when the Next Generation came out, there was certain elements of the original series fans that grated against Next Generation fans. Mm-hmm. So and I'm sure there's probably classic Who fans that don't appreciate New Who. Yeah. And same with Star Wars. I mean, I'm like original Star Wars as well, so with an appreciation of the prequel trilogy, but just outright disdain for the sequel trilogy. So, I get what you mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So Who put that? Someone's hacked my computer. So yeah, it's I think you're right. Yeah, there's probably, and like I say, I think old gaming like that is probably a bit of a more of a niche thing than say. I mean, I wouldn't even class Spectrum stuff, and even Commodore, Atari. I wouldn't even really class that in what people seem to class as retro gaming, because for me that kind of predates. Because most of the retro games that you see when people talk of retro gaming,
it's all relative.
Well, yeah, sure, but it seems to be more things like NES and upwards.
Yeah, because you see, even stuff like this, which I happen to have here, even stuff
Snapper.
I see that.
It's not Pac-Man at all.
No, not at all.
That is a tidy snapper,
isn't it?
Oh yes.
I thought it seemed smaller though when I got it in the post, compared to what I remembered it. But
you don't want a big snapper. That's the thing.
But you have to have a certain amount of DOS in the family and technical nous to have played computer games. Now console games, obviously, different thing altogether, much easier to do. So we are a niche within a niche in that sense when it comes to actual computer gaming of that era, because not many people were actually doing it.
No. But you see, that's the other thing as well. I don't. They seem to lump it in that 8-bit thing, where really the Spectrum isn't 8-bit. Really, it's pre-8-bit.
Yeah.
It's but it gets lumped in with that sometimes, as does the VCS and that. But yeah. What was? Is that an Atari Soft game? That Snapper one?
Acorn Soft.
Oh, Iacon Soft. All right,
Yeah.
For the Electron. Is it for the Electron or the BBC?
No, this is for the BBC.
Right.
BBC Microcomputer Model B.
Yes.
Wow.
So at the time, basically, this was one of the very first games that I ever remember playing, which is why when I spotted it, I picked it up just randomly. Because I'm not collecting these. But on the back, it says Arcade Action, Meteors, and Rocket Ray. So those were like the 4 original Acorn Soft games that ever existed for the BBC. That was it, literally it. And then they started bringing out stuff like Starship Command, which I loved.
Yeah.
And we got Superior Software, and all of those guys started coming into the market. But Acorn Soft were properly early doors.
Yeah.
This is a tape cassette, children. Yes.
I've got a shelf full of them. But you see, at that time, you see Acorn were kind of reluctant on the whole gaming aspect of it. They were more geared towards, they wanted to go more towards business and high end, and especially on the BBC Model B, because that was part of the home micro, bringing computers to schools and that.
Yeah, that's what my parents were persuaded to buy it for. Yeah,
but you see ultimately that's what destroyed both Sinclair and Acorn, because they wanted to cross market. So Sinclair wanted to try and break into the business market, and Acorn wanted to break into the games market. So Acorn released the Electron, which, due to delays in manufacturing and things like that, it came out almost 2 years too late. And then Sinclair, Sir Clive bless him, thrust the QL upon the world, which just failed ultimately. So sorry, I'm going down the geek rabbit hole.
Spectral Horace needs his own channel.
He does.
He does.
Buy the t-shirt.
Wolverine says hi. So hi there, Wolverine.
Hello, Wolverine.
We have another hi from Benjamin.
Hello, Benjamin.
Good to see you again today, Benji. What else? Do we get onto this one? I don't know if I want to go down this. This is another rabbit
just
hole.
spit it out. Spit it out.
You've already answered it.
Oh, I have?
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what Andy's take is. What's your opinion of Star Wars The Last Jedi?
Right, while he's answering that, give me 2 minutes, I'll be back.
Okay.
Right, I have observed the filmographic release. I'm not entirely sure I understood what the hell was going on. So look, I've magicked a lightsaber from behind my back. Who?
Oh, that was Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, which one am I thinking of? Which one was The Last Jedi then? This
Last
is the middle
Jedi
one.
is the one where we get Mary Poppins, Leia, and Luke dies.
Okay.
On a planet all on his own.
With the blue milk.
Yes.
Super.
Yeah. See, that face says it all, Wolverine. I'm not getting into it. Good question. And it does tie into what we were talking about as well. Do you think that eBay is killing businesses?
I wouldn't have said so.
I
Because
tend to agree.
you're still in business.
I'm still in business.
Other people are still in business. And you are acutely conscious of eBay. In fact, one of the things I was going to ask when you were talking about thriftiness was, how do you price? Because I have observed with some amusements, there was an issue of a comic that I'm keeping an eye on because I'd like to get it. And I can tell that they base their pricing on some utterly random pricing by US sellers of a British comic for no apparent reason, who are ridiculously high. I'm thinking, it's just not worth that. I am not buying it at that price. But this seller is actually steadily bringing their price down every time they redo their listings. No one's buying the damn thing because it's an idiotic price. And in fact, I think I pointed that out to them. I said, you do realize that if you're doing it off the back of those prices, this is not, it's a bit silly, really. I'm helpful like that. But of course, eBay will tell you what prices have been achieved or what other people have got it on for. And so eBay forms a bubble if you're selling a niche item. So it will go for whatever it last went for, effectively.
Yes.
Whereas you guys will sell it at a sensible price that you know is likely to sell, and so thereby undercutting eBay silliness. So the thing is, if you can't travel, or if the online people, the businesses you normally buy from in the real world don't have it online for you to check, then eBay is quick and convenient. If you just have a sudden brainwave and you search for something, you need to find something. Whereas a physical trip will cost you a bit in petrol. This is from my point of view now. It'll cost you a bit in petrol, but then equally I don't have to pay postage.
And parking.
All right, and parking as well. You're supposed to be not pointing out the negatives of going to physical shops, sir, because you've got one. So,
have I?
Honestly, have you? I mean, eyes. Yeah. So, plus, you're not going to get you're not necessarily going to get the knowledge from an eBay seller who's randomly selling off stuff that they don't actually know about, but which they've just somehow come upon. I don't even know how half of these people get their stock. I mean, some are clearly very dedicated and just doing it, and they've chosen not to have a physical shop. One assumes, which I guess is a choice. And some do have a lot of stuff, but again, it's like, do you know what sort of state it's going to arrive in when you buy it from them? It's a punt. But at least in a shop, you can see that the shop will have taken time to clean stuff up to put it out, because they wouldn't want to have their sort of reputation knocked by putting broken stuff on the shelves and so on. So, and you form a relationship with people, because obviously I met you, Gareth, through physically arriving at the shop one day, having heard about it on the proverbial grapevine, because I might not otherwise have realised that you were there, because it's not yours is not a town that I frequently visit otherwise.
Sadly, that's the case for most people.
Yeah.
Wise decision.
But it's just tricky, and I have this looking on things. Now this.
Oh, cool.
Now, this is not what I wanted. I bought it to see if I could find a clue to figure out how I could get hold of the thing that I did want, because I think this is like an early version of the thing I was after.
Okay.
But the odds of me just spotting this in a store when I've got a limited amount of time to look through everything was slim to none. So for things like that, obviously, eBay has its place, because even trying to do a search, if you've tried searching for laser guns on eBay, not going to happen. It takes a lot of time to scroll through. God knows how many.
Was that looks very familiar? Was that rebranded and labelled as something else?
This is a pistol version of a rifle that I had when I was little, I think.
Right.
It's actually working. I can demonstrate it. I will do
It's just it looks familiar.
Yeah, it might. Let me get out of the box and show you the physical thing, because it might ring a bell, because it is literally, to my mind, a cut down version of the bigger version, which I've been looking for quite a while and have not seen on eBay once.
Did you just rip sellotape off that box?
No, I did not just rip sellotape off that
thank goodness for that. I thought you had.
It's an ancient box. It's been opened many, many times before.
Okay.
That is what it looks like. The one that I'm looking for has a much longer stock on the back, but has this very similar dial to set different settings. So I've got machine gun, death ray, and laser. I may have done that in reverse order. No, that is right. Laser, apparently.
Fantastic.
And that is the sort of effect that the one that I'm thinking of had, but it was just a much longer thing. So it had a bit where you could grip it on the front there, and then this sort of trigger, and a bit of a sort of stock off the back. But this kind of dial, and white and black, so exactly the same coloration scheme. But this strikes me as either a smaller version released afterwards or an early version that came out first.
Right.
So I've literally just got this today, so I'm going to have a sort of a delve at its box in detail and just see what it says about its manufacturer and so on. I think what I'm looking for is a Toytronic Phase 4 laser rifle. That I think is its official name. But can you find it? Can you I found a picture of it, so I know what it looks like. And in fact, bizarrely, I even saw one in the States, not directly. But I was watching Froggy Flips going around places, and in the corner of frame of one of his videos, there was this silver one in a garage sale, and I thought that's it, but it was silver, and I was like, and then I had a white one, I had a white and black one, but so yeah, that's what I've got my my eye on at the minute. That's like actually got a spaceship on the cover as well. The artwork's quite impressive actually for little plastic toys. It's not bad.
Oh, nice. I quite like that. It's very cool. Very cool. Oh, that's what you were doing. You're pulling the sleeve off the polystyrene box.
Yeah, the polystyrene box inside the...
Yes, I get it now. Okay. Well, I'll take a shot at answering it as well. This question is eBay killing businesses? No, because there's far too many businesses that use eBay as a tool, either for selling themselves, for sourcing goods that they then sell, and also for pricing. And I know I hardly sell anything on eBay now. I think I've got one item on there, and have done for about a year. But I do use it to gauge prices. And if people weren't selling things on eBay, I wouldn't know how much to sell a lot of the things that I get in, because I get a lot of fairly unique items. What do you think, Eddie? Do you think that eBay is killing businesses? I will add a quick amendment to that as well. I think the internet in general is having an impact on high street shops, but I don't think that eBay in particular is killing those shops.
I would say that I'm aware of quite a lot of businesses that do use eBay as a supplementary selling tool to maybe the website or actual bricks and mortar shop. What I find amazing is that there's some retailers, I won't name names, but they'll sell items cheaper on eBay than what they do through their own website or actually in their shop, which baffles me. And I think, well, hang on a minute, you're paying extra fees and stuff like that with eBay. How are you selling it cheaper? But then also, by the same token, I think that for the most part, or a lot of the time, I don't agree that I personally don't feel that eBay is a true reflection of true prices or what something's actually worth. You know, I think that just going by some of the stuff that I sell and have bought myself, I think that you can get and it ties back, I suppose, to buying on a budget as well. I think generally most of the time you can find more fairer price within groups, buying and selling that way, rather than going through eBay. You see, because a good example is recently there was a studio series, Grimlock, on eBay. Yeah, on an auction, and I think the last time I looked in at it, it was bid up to something like pushing almost £200. It's not worth £200. Never worth £200. Now, either somebody really, really wants it really bad, or somebody wants it really bad and someone else is just firing bids in to push the price up and up and up. Personally, I think whoever buys that is a complete and utter idiot, for paying that. But I suppose it goes back to whatever people's willing to pay. But bringing it back, do I think eBay's killing businesses? Nah, I think eBay's just pretty much... It's an online car boot sale, really. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. It's just an online car boot sale.
And it got there first. I mean, that's the thing. It's been around for so long.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people's go-to place for stuff. So
yeah.
Fair
but I think, I just think like everything else, with the particular stuff that interests us, collectibles and geekery stuff or whatever you want to call it, I think the majority of people now have got wise to it, and they inflate their prices a bit because they know that there's certain collectors out there that will pay it because they feel they've got to have it or they have to have it. And so I think that's why in some respects that the prices you sometimes see on eBay aren't really a true reflection of an item's worth. Because you've got collectors inflating the price and you've got retailers inflating the price, because each is trying to outdo each other.
And again, that's another reason why I often prefer to go to a physical shop, because obviously there is a lot of nonsense with the bidding processes and so on, where you've got to snipe the last second and all the rest of it. And yes, I have been the sniper at times because I didn't know where else to get it from. And it's kind of but it is a lot less stressful to just gently browse around a shop and actually just buy it, because you don't then have to go, and it's not time critical either. You don't have to be there at the right time to put the bid in to do it. You can just go and get it. But of course, as you say, like a car boot sales sort of scenario, the only places you're going to find toys of this age is in specialist shops or on an online car boot sale. Those are really your only options.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, also, I'd say as well, patience as well is the other aspect to it. Because if there's something you want, eventually you'll find it at the price that you're willing to pay. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, an example would be Star Wars Black Series. If you're patient enough.
But they're everywhere, aren't they?
Pardon?
They're everywhere, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, you go places like Game, even JD Sports and things like that. They're selling them for peanuts. For next to no. There's some of them they're under a tenner. So I mean, there's the patience aspect. One for me personally is the Lego Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't touching that.
Do tell.
Well, when it came, what were it? Got through 150 quid when it first came out.
149.99.
I remember that did put me off it. I remember actually.
Yeah, which was far too. I wasn't paying that. No way. If I was going to pay that money, I'd have paid the extra tenner and got the Lego Space Shuttle, because I think it was just a lot better set. Anyway, I contacted Gareth the other day. We were having a chat, and Amazon and Argos are doing it at 105. So I thought, right, so I've bought one. It was still, I'd say it's still probably about £15, £20 more than what I think it's actually worth. But much like the Lego Atari, I don't think it's going to come down any much more than that. So I thought, okay, for the sake of 15, 20 quid, I'll just bite bullet and I'll pick it up. That's coming tomorrow. So, like I say, I mean, if you're patient enough and you wait, you'll see some certain... It won't happen for all items, and I'm sure Gareth will attest to that. There's some items that just won't come down, but there's some things will, some won't. It just depends what it is you're after.
That said, you never know what you you might be fortunate enough to stumble on either in a shop that sells second-hand goods or charity shops get some things in from time to time, don't they? So you never know what you're going to pick up. You might find a seller online as well that doesn't know what they've got. It happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
yeah.
But I think rule of thumb, obviously, the going rate is the going rate.
Well, see, because I mean, I was the ones that I find can be of use as job lots, because more often than not, in the title they won't describe what's in them.
No, they won't.
So if you've got a good eye and you spot something that's worth having, then assuming no one else has spotted it at the same time, then you might be with a shout of getting a bargain. So those, I think, if you can afford to to spend whatever it's going to need to get the one a reasonable amount of them, then I think they're quite good options. I think your per unit price can come down quite a bit, unless they put something super rare right in the front of it. Then obviously everyone's going to go for it. So that's not going to pay off so well. But I came up with a G1 Sideswipe, and I was completely sort of expecting that I was going to get clobbered on it at some point, but it ended up being quite reasonable. He was in reasonable nick, So I thought, for me, for display purposes, fine, not a problem. So yeah,
that's something I do miss. I do miss the days of when you used to go around market stalls or second-hand shops, or even sometimes on eBay. But I'm talking the early days of eBay, so we're still like in the 90s, and it's like you'd see these what people probably term as junkers now. But they were like, and they'd be like, thinking, oh yeah, it's a sideswiper, it's a wheeljack, or it's a ratchet, or whatever, and you just pick them up, and you knew they weren't complete and they'd been played with, but it's like, I've got one, it's a bit like, it's like with the Spectrum stuff. Just briefly going back to that, whenever I see one out in the wild for the right price, I'll pick it up, because it's like finding an orphan or a lost child, and you think,
to rescue.
I'll just pick that up, and I'll look after it, kind of thing. So yeah, I do miss those days of, because I again, it's going back to the affordability thing. I do kind of feel sorry for collectors now, because so many people are wise to it, and so many people are looking to. Obviously, not everyone's like this, but there are a lot of people out there that are willing to rip people off, and sort of like can do this whole thing that, because they think it's collectible, they can charge a premium price and things like that, And
did you look directly at me when you said that then?
No, I've got astigmatism. I'm buzz-eyed. One eye's going to the shop, other's coming back with change. So I do, because when I first got back into collecting, people still hadn't really cottoned onto it. It wasn't as popular as what it was now. So you could pick up good stuff at good prices. And collectors nowadays, they've missed out on that. And it's a shame, really. Because it also, the other thing that gets my arse hair up as well is people who buy multiples. Yeah. I saw a post the other day, I won't say what, but they'd bought something like 8 of this particular figure.
Wow.
And it's like, right, okay, fair enough, it's your money. You can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Was it a bunch of Marvel Legends?
No, it wasn't, no.
It wasn't. Oh, that's one that I saw the other day.
Yeah. But it was like, but in the same thread, on the same group, within the same sort of like feed, there were people quite upset that they weren't able to get one. They'd got up early, they'd gone to wherever, they'd gone online early, and they're not being able to pick one. And what bugs me about that is, it's like, right, okay, if you're an army builder or you want multiples, fair enough. But let other folk wet the beak first before you start buying everything up,
But I've seen on some videos, though, where people go to, I don't know if it's actually a boot sale as such, but people will offer them like boxes of a single figure, and the guy is sort of going on his eBay going, yeah, they'll sell for this, so yeah, I'll offer you this for that, is that right? Yeah. So he knows he's clearly doing it with a view to making a profit on the ones that presumably that they're actually going to resell all of them. But clearly that is going to prevent anyone else getting their mitts on them for a while at least, because then you've got to try and figure out who's bought them, and if they're not using eBay, then how is that going to get back into the the stream of things, But it's an interesting one because are they trying to actually up the prices by reducing the supply themselves so they can make more profit off the back of it? I wonder.
No, I think these particular people that I noticed, they're buying it for their own collection. Yeah.
Oh, I see. They are genuinely just getting.
They're buying them to like gather dust on their shelf. Which again, fair enough. I don't have an issue with army building, but when it's a new figure that's just come out and people are wanting it, let people get the figure. You know, I mean, Hasbro. I mean, there were Hasbro figures, yeah, and it's like Hasbro will do more, and they'll do another release, and they'll do another release. You know, so just let people get them rather than just like snap them all up. Something happened last year with the PlayStation 5. People bought PlayStation 5s and were sitting on them. I mean, I saw some websites and some eBay sellers looking at wanting to charge people £700-800 for a PS5. So when Sony released just before Christmas, they flooded the shops with stock of PS5s. I pissed myself laughing because I thought, right, I hope these bastards have lost money now. You know, because it's just, I fucking hate people like that. I really do. I really do. Sorry. Grinds my gears.
Oh dear. Are we finished?
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
Spleen has
I'll
been vented.
put my soapbox away. No, I just don't like. I don't like people taking piss, and I don't like people being unfair. Yeah. Everyone collects what they want, and they like to collect stuff and that. But just let everyone enjoy it. Don't do people out. Just for the sake of it, and don't go to toy fairs and put your prices up 30 and 40 quid. When you've got it on your website for 30 or 40 quid cheaper.
Well, I think they lost out with that one, didn't they? Because they Hasbro Pulse then offered them at less than what they had them on their website at.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Yeah,
look, that was what persuaded me to get. I got a re-release of Ravage from the Beast Wars,
right?
That included a little cassette Ravage as well.
Oh, excellent!
All right. G1 cassette Ravage. It was really, really cute actually, and. But again, that was heavily reduced compared to what it was originally for, and that was actually on eBay via Hasbro Pulse, I think it was. But actually, I really appreciate the artwork as well because they'd done the sort of background to the packaging was actually the interior of his ship from Beast Wars, and the Ravage cassette actually fitted into a console on the ship background, which again I thought was a nice touch for a modern toy.
Did we only see the inside of his ship in one episode as well?
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
It was cool though because it was great.
Am I right
that tie into original G1 was very clever.
Yes, it was. Am I also right in thinking that episode was wrote by Simon Furman?
Indeed. I think many of them were because obviously they dragged it right back into continuity.
Yeah.
And you suddenly have this sort of point where you realise exactly where they are and when they are and all that good stuff. So yeah, that was when things got really interesting. If you were someone who was old enough to remember the original Transformers cartoons / comics, that Beast Wars was absolutely bob on because again, I think that must be one of the early examples of a modern show, sort of tying it back when there were no toys that were going to be released.
No.
In terms of that side of it at all at that point in time, but they still chose to loop it back into the earlier generation of them, which I thought was very clever. Very clever. Great series, that.
Was. You were never a fan, were you, Ed?
No, it's not that I want to finish. I never watched it because I were out, I were working.
I only got it on DVD, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. I mean, I've still not seen. I've probably seen maybe 4, maybe 5 episodes, if that. I've seen the episode where they're in the Ark and Optimus Primal takes the Matrix and things like that, which is like, it's all right. It does what it needs to do. But no, it's. I don't know enough about it to comment whether I'd like it or I wouldn't like it. Because like I said, I've just not I had a couple of toys. In fact, well, I got a few of the toys off you back in the day, didn't I, Gareth? I got Megatron and Optimus Primal. I had them for a while on my shelf, and they're quite nice figures, you know. But yeah, it's not. It's not
your generation, sort of. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not like I say nowadays. It's like it's not. There's no hate for it. It's just a case of it's not my thing. I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad there's people out there enjoying it. You know, but it's probably just not for me unless I sit down and actually watch it and see what I think. But
tomorrow,
it's not on my radar. It's not on my radar just yet.
And tomorrow, the new film comes out.
Oh yeah,
with the beasts in it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna get their moment in the limelight like other elements have now.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes down, because I assume this is now in the Bumblebee timeline.
Yes,
I'm assuming. So
yeah, I think Bumblebee was a soft reboot or something?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't think anything's officially been said that it is. I think it's interpreted as a soft reboot. You know. Unless it's Unicorn's twin brother.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because none of the other films are in canon with each other anyway.
Well,
that's a little harsh, but all right.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Stanley Tucci in one film playing a business mogul, and the following film is back again playing Merlin. I don't know how that one works.
No, last night was a bit random, it has to be said.
What? Anyway, we're 50 minutes in? 52 minutes in. I'm going to move on to the next question. This is one that I've been meaning to ask since the first episode, and Andy pitched it to be asked today. And I'm going to put a slight tweak to it as well. It's going to be a double question. So, how do you display? How do you display your collections? What furniture might you use? What cabinets might you use? And if money wasn't an option, not an option, if money wasn't a question at all, how would you like to display?
Oh, yes,
both of you. Whoever goes first.
You go first, Andy.
All right then. Well, my go-to would be the mighty IKEA, of course, because they do a glass cabinet which is just the right height for my corner where I think I could put stuff on display. At the moment, what I do is I use Billy bookcases of various flavors with the glass door option on them to keep the dust out. Visibility is a little bit rubbish because they've got sort of wooden horizontals and, you know, they are wooden all around. It's only the door that's glass. So you can't, you know, they're fine if you're just looking sort of head on, it kind of works. But it is a bit of a pain in the backside, especially with the double doors, because the double doors have two strips of wood down the middle where the doors meet. So again, you kind of lose that central sort of vertical vision there. So you can only really do stuff on the left and the right, not in the middle.
Effectively becomes two cabinets instead of one, doesn't it?
Effectively, yeah, you're right. It does. So, you know, if you've got the space for it, it's great because it's more, I think it's more cost efficient doing it like that rather than having two single ones, if I remember rightly. But I think that the, what they called again? The £75 ones.
The Detolfs.
Yes. So the Detolfs are not as high as the Billy bookcases. They do lose a bit in terms of actual overall display space, I think. And the shelving, I don't think you can get extra glass shelves for them. So what they come with is what they come with. And obviously the Billies, you can adjust the heights and stuff as well. So that's of use. And I definitely did that with Billies. I put more shelves in because I was doing quite small items. So I could use all of the volume of the bookcase to put them in. If money weren't an issue, I guess what I would probably do is get someone in to do a bespoke display setup maybe do it. I don't know. Maybe do it in perspex or something. Maybe sort of with UV blocking glass or whatever. Light it nicely. Because obviously I think that you can light the whatever it calls tuffnels or whatever. But so that would be the ideal, I guess, is to sort of be able to light them and fully glass and just because obviously I don't know where else you get them from. You see, there's a website called, I think it's Display Sense or something, and they do a few options. Even Argos do glass display stuff, but again with the Argos, I'd always be a little bit wary about quality. I don't think I've ever bought furniture from them, so I don't know if it's solid or not, or solid enough.
I've had a load of bookcases which are very, very similar to the Billy bookcases from Argos, and they're very much the same. Very much the same. Now, with doors on, they don't offer doors. I don't know if they'd be any different.
How about you, Ed?
I'm torn on this one. At the moment, I display in box because I just don't have the room to display the figures loose. I mean, I know, I do have some figures out at the moment, behind me and just there. But that's just because I had a bit of a rearrange in my office here the other week. And I've just let them out to breathe for a few days, and then they'll be going back in the box. But no, so I don't have the space, so everything stays in its box. If I had the space, it would have to be some kind of hermetically sealed cabinet that didn't allow dust in. Because I look at some people's displays of their figures, and I think to myself, there's no way in hell you have ever run a duster over any of that. Yeah. And I would not allow my figures to gather dust in that way. So it would have to be some kind of hermetically sealed so there's no dust can get in there. So I would, if money wasn't an object, it would probably be a dedicated room with cabinets all around the edges of the room, and like I say, with just sealed so they couldn't get any dust on them and things. Or even sorry, so I was
going to say, I mean, I think that we probably have a sort of a different problem as well to say someone in America, because obviously American houses / garages are enormous. So they probably can have a dedicated room to storing stuff, whereas we're trying to squeeze it into, a finite number of rooms in a finitely sized house. So it's kind of, we do face a different logistical problem, I think, in terms of actually being able to do displays of larger things. So, I mean, with the way that I get stuff, I'm tending to get bits and bobs. So I don't have like a vast display of one thing. So for me, I don't need a sort of a large contiguous zone for one particular collection. So I could just bit and bob things about the place. Wouldn't be a problem. But even trying to do that, you've still got to have enough space to maybe just try and keep it largely in one place. Because that's kind of what you want, isn't it? You want to be able to just sort of see it in one go. So I think it is a little bit trickier for us than perhaps it might be for others. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing as well. Again, this is just a personal preference and opinion, but I think I'd want it in its own dedicated room because I'm not one for... Although I don't get me wrong, I'm going to sound a hypocrite here, but... Well, I am. I freely admit it, I am. But I don't like having any of my collection or stuff to do with my collection in like the living area, so like the kitchen or the living room or things like that. But I do have one piece on a rotational basis that I'll put on a shelf in the room. But I'll sort of like I am conscious of it being there, but I think no, I'll pick a particular piece. It'll be there for a week or two, and then I'll rotate it with a different one. But I do like to have that separation of collection to my living space because just me personally, I enjoy it being up here. So then when I come in the office, it's there and I can just take a moment and have a look at it and enjoy. but I don't want it to be in my line of sight 24/7. You know, I want to be able to go to a different room and have a break from it. You know, kind of like, you know, when I'm in the room, that's when I've got my grown-up head on. And then when I come into my office, you know, with my collection, I'll put my nostalgia head on or whatever. You know, I just like to have that segregation, that separation between living space and my collecting space. Because I see other people's collections, and it's pretty much in every room in the house. And it's like, fair enough, you know, good for you, but it's not for me. Is that?
Because he's raised an interesting question in the chat, actually. So, UV protective glass and blinds to ensure no sun damage. And I was just thinking that they're forecasting hot weather over the weekend. What do you think is the critical point for toys and hot and heat? Because my sort of front room is south facing, so it does suck up the heat, something chronic when it's hot. And also, I mean, I think clearly different plastics. I mean, if you take this as an example, actually, I have been leaving this on a windowsill in my study here, so it does get a bit of direct light during the day because my study is also south facing. But these nacelles are not going yellow, which I find quite interesting because I know I'm doing the wrong thing leaving it where it could get UV. Yes, all right, yet. But I think some things do react quite violently, quite rapidly, don't they? You know. So yeah,
I think these steps that people take is only delaying the inevitable. I think you can protect it as much as you want to, or as much as you think you're going to do. But I think eventually, white plastic will discolor, whether it's been locked in a vacuum of darkness, you know, for however long. I think it's a chemical process within the plastic itself that is probably helped along by UV or whatever, or heat or whatever you want to say. But I think the plastic itself will eventually will break down and something will happen and it will turn yellow. And I think it's just part of it, you know, because plastic, there's no plastic that's been made yet that's indestructible. You know, it will deteriorate. It'll go brittle. It'll go oily. It'll discolor. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think myself.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Taking a really dark turn. I think that's why more people suffer with cancer now than they did years ago. Because
we live longer. Made of plastic?
No, because we live longer. I think that it's one of those things. It's there within all of us and will happen if we give it enough time to gestate.
Well, it is. Cancer is everyone. It's a malreplication.
Yes.
Of the cell.
Single bit errors in DNA. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the DNA sequence gets corrupted and it doesn't replicate properly. Yeah. That's all it is. So everybody has the potential to have it.
The reason I was asking about the heat thing is because the other option I have in this particular house is that I got this house because it had an upstairs area that was actually usable. So at the moment, it was kind of my son's playroom. So all his old playroom stuff got transposed into this house and up into that attic room. But it does get bloody hot up there. But it only has one window, and in theory, I could block the light out of that by pulling a single blind down. It's only got relics in it. So actually, that would form an ideal sort of display area if he didn't have all his ancient, well, not ancient, but older, younger toys in it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's possible I might take that over at some point because he's well out of his toy phase now. It's just whether or not he'd sort of he'd cry havoc if I tried to do it at this point, But that would be another option for me. It's just whether everything would melt when that's getting toasty from sort of high summer heat. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it depends. I mean, like I said, I'm up in the loft. This is where my office is, and yeah, it does get hot through the summer. There's no denying that, and it's absolutely freezing during the winter. just the insulation's doing its job, shall we say? But so far, I've been up in this loft now since 2003, so it's like 20 years I've been up here, and touch wood, it hasn't adversely affected any of my figures.
Yeah, that's interesting to understand.
So, but then again, they are all in the box for the most part. So.
Yeah, I have to say that before...
Or are they?
Yeah, well, yes, Toy Story. Toy Story. Oh, they could be running around with a knife in Chucky style. No, before we moved here in December, where we were at, it was on the 9th floor, and it had a tin roof, metal roof, and throughout summer, it got incredibly
ouch.
There was no air conditioning apart from opening your windows, and because we had a cat that liked diving from the top floor down to the pavement and smashed the chin up once, we decided not to open the windows, so it didn't get cool there at all. And I have to say,
to attach a bungee rope to its collar.
should have done. But yeah, I have to say that everything survived that heat. I nearly didn't.
Yeah.
On several occasions.
I've been sat in here with like three little battery powered fans aiming in my direction just to try and survive.
There was one thing. And can you see it? Yes. That brown thing on that shelf there. It's like a faux leather. So like a rubbery, plasticky leather feel. Covered notebook, and it's a 3D type thing, and all the 3D sticky out bits are glued on.
Oh, the glue!
Well, the glue melted.
Yeah.
I came in one day. It's going to happen here as well because I can already feel how hot it's getting here. I came in one day and all these bits had just slid down.
I'm melting.
In the bottom, and they're all at the bottom of the plastic bag. So yeah, the heat can be a problem, but I think the plastic in most cases can survive it. You might find some softer plastics may droop a little bit. Yes. So I don't know how soft your Enterprise nacelles are.
Well, you see, it's ironic because a lot of the rest of the Ertl stuff is actually die cast. That's why they last so long, because the bird of prey have no plastic whatsoever. So they're very, very solid. And a lot of the Eagle Moss stuff is quite metally as well for the most part. So it's but yeah, it's an interesting one.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's move on. See what you think to this one. Because I'm fairly sure that we don't all just collect toys. In fact, we already know Ed collects his Spectrum games. And all our toys collect dust. What else do we pick up? I get a lot of vinyl records. That's become quite a big thing for me in the last few years. I've spent far too much on them. And it did start off with getting the Doctor Who stuff on vinyl. And then once I realised I'd spent quite a bit of money on these vinyl records, these Doctor Who vinyl records, I really ought to get a record player, haven't I? I've spent literal hundreds of pounds on something that I can't use, even if I want to. So I spent far too much on a hi-fi setup. And started picking up albums to listen to. And I do listen to them time to time. I was listening to Erasure the other day, had a little bit of Bruce Dickinson.
You post on Facebook about them quite a lot, don't you? I've noticed that. Yeah.
And sometimes it starts conversations. Music, it's a direct line to someone's soul, so it can, and certainly certain songs evoke memories in people's lives for definite.
Yes, definitely.
And when you post what music you're listening to, sometimes it can start a dialogue with people that you haven't spoken to in a long time, which it did the other day, which I'm always appreciative of that. So yeah, I started buying the vinyl records and listening to albums again, and I still haven't listened to any of those Doctor Who ones. 3 years on, I still haven't listened to any of them.
I think that's a new topic. Yeah. What have you bought that you still have never actually looked at or played with? Yeah.
Well, we won't get onto the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing. I collect Blu-rays and steelbooks and collector's editions and stuff like that.
I certainly used to do the Blu-ray thing, because one of the things I used to do on a fairly regular basis was go into HMV and get 5 for 30.
Okay.
I refused to pay a full price for a Blu-ray disc, but I would pay 30 quid to go and get them for like 6 quid a pop. That seemed eminently reasonable to me. But of course now, I imagine like many people, you know, with the advent of Netflix and Prime and Paramount and I must admit I have not bought a physical disc for a little while now.
Okay.
So I have, as much as I went, oh no, streaming, initially, actually now it's bloody straightforward. And I do sort of justify it in the sense that, you know, I'm paying an amount for these services that would have been about equivalent to buying maybe a couple of Blu-rays a month, give or take, you know, sort of. So that is kind of what I've fallen into now, I guess. That because I mean, particularly with Disney, for example, I was getting the Disney films on Blu-ray fairly religiously, and then of course Disney go ahead and do Disney Blinking Plus, and of course they're all there all the time. They don't disappear. And they're probably better quality than the Blu-rays in some respects, you know, depending on what your connection speed's like. Possibly. So if your connection speed is good, you know, fewer extras perhaps, but when you actually have time to watch extras, they're on YouTube, you know. So it's kind of, I just don't bother with that. I mean, I still do. I am gradually edging back into graphic novel territory. I do have several shelves full of quite a long-standing graphic novel collecting habit, because I used to get single issues when I used to bike around North Wales and sort of pick them up on a very regular basis. So I went sort of, I think I got Beano's for a little bit, then Transformers comics, the Marvel comics, Death's Head, Dragon's Claws, 2000 AD for a long time, you know. Then gradually I moved more into sort of the American imports that were getting easier to find at that point. And then, of course, I found shops like yours, Forbidden Planet and so on, that specialised in graphic novels. And then, of course, Amazon completely destroyed that market by offering them to everyone at cut prices as compared to what you get them for in real shops. So, you know, it's... And just recently, again, going off eBay, I've been randomly getting single-issue comics just because, yeah, I can see them. I thought, yeah, I recognise that. That looks interesting. And just bitting and bobbing really, because they do have the advantage of not taking up as much space as the toys do. So there is that. But I would say my comics collection is probably my biggest, you know, sort of long-standing collection that I've got. I've still got some old music CDs, but again, I tend to just recycle the ones I've got, or, you know, listen to Spotify these days. I can't say that I get physical media all that much, which is surprising for me, because I've still got all my sort of childhood books I still have still on bookshelves, you know. Don't get rid of books. I just find that just no, you know. But again, I don't buy masses of new books. But I mean, the thing is, I find I can't read books electronically. I want a physical book.
Mm-hmm.
I could never get into the Kindle concept, which wasn't my bag, but that's probably about as much as I go for. And also I can get old games on GOG now, so I can go back and play the original Fallout and UFO Enemy Unknown, all that sort of good stuff. I can just download that now as well, so that's straightforward. But back in the day, again, I would have had Amiga games. I had quite a lot of Amiga games at one point, so that would be my bag as well back in the day.
Okay.
Ed?
Oh, me?
You, yeah.
What's the question again? Oh, it's there. Collecting crossovers.
It's just there.
Yeah, it's just there. I don't really. I tend to. I'm quite haphazard and sporadic now with what I pick up and collect. It definitely is whatever takes my eye at the time. If I see something, I'm like, oh, right, yeah, I think I'll have that.
Little rabbit holes, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pick something up. I mean, a lot of the time, I'll pick something up because I want to photograph it. So I'll pick something up, photograph it, post it on Instagram. It'll get put to one side, and then when I've got enough stuff to one side, it'll then get sold. I'll have a sale and I'll sell stuff off. I pick up probably a handful of Lego sets each year. But it tends to be, rather than it's me, it tends to be things like, so I'll get it for like an Easter gift or a Father's Day gift or a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, yeah? So it's not me actually buying, but I'll say, oh, well, you can just pick that up for me, So Lego's in there, but very sporadically. There is Black Series. I do have a bit of a weakness for Black Series, but it tends to be Stormtroopers or Stormtrooper variants. I'm not big on the actual, human characters, if you will. So it tends to be that side of things. The Spectrum stuff, I've pretty much topped off really what I wanted to get on that. So that's like my Transformers collection now. It's just there to be appreciated. Occasionally some games will come up and I'll think, oh, I'll buy that. Which again, 9 times out of 10, if I pick up a Spectrum game, it's because of the artwork on the cassette case more than anything. I'll think, oh, I like the artwork on that. I'll pick that one up. I picked one up. I think it was middle of last year now, and the artwork on the front is and the loading screen. It's Eddie from Iron Maiden.
Okay.
I mean, it's not meant to be him, but they've quite obviously copied it.
Yes.
What else would there be? Music, music is a part. I have a few vinyl. I've picked up a few vinyl, but not to the extent of what Gareth does. To my horror and my shame, I did have a really, really, really impressive vinyl and cassette collection. But when I moved in with my wife, over 20 years ago, when we moved in together, I put it all in the boot of my car, took it to the tip, and threw it away. Ooh. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking quite a lot of picture discs, coloured vinyl. Yeah, I just threw it because I'd recently bought. I think it was a JVC. It was like this MIDI kind of hi-fi system. We're all separates kind of thing. All bells and whistles as there were, and it had I can't remember what the cards would have been back then, but you could just slot the card in it. So basically, I downloaded all the CDs that I had onto my computer, put them on this card. So, and I thought, well, I don't need my cassettes or records now because they're just taking up space, and I binned them. So I've started buying the odd one back now and again, but I do buy. You might be able to see them just out of shot. Not sure which way. Turn that way.
Yes.
Put a pussycat. I'm getting quite a nice selection of 80s and synth wave music. That's. I mean, I'm just completely 80s anyway. 80, but movies, music, clothing. So yeah, it's those are the things, but it is quite sporadic. But there are things I would like to, but I have to be tough with myself. But on the Transformers side, I found my eye casting more now towards merchandise rather than actual stuff, figures and things. Merchandise. So things like, I mean, I'd forgot that I had them, but my wife was. I'm just teasing because I know she's upstairs and she can hear me, so I'm just teasing. I forgot I had them, but she was doing some tidying up the other week, and she says, "Are you going to put these up in attic with the rest of your stuff?" And I'm like, "What?" And it was from 85. So it's a G1 sleeping bag and duvet and pillow set. Which I completely forgot that I had, so they're there. But, it's just daft things. I'll just get it. He's just here, actually. But it's things like... Things like this.
Oh, yeah.
Record and cassette box.
Wow.
So I found myself looking at those and, so you got like the Ditto twin pack cassette, the obligatory Ladybird books.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got one of those last week.
Yeah, I got them looking somewhere, I think.
The Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Ah.
I've never seen those before.
Have you not seen them?
No. I've seen Choose Your Own Adventure books, but I've never seen the Transformers ones.
So,
didn't know they were a thing.
So it's that kind of stuff. I've got some Transformers marbles. There's posters, jigsaws. So it tends to be that kind of thing. There is one thing that I am wanting to collect, but being the Burke that I am, I keep picking up emails too late, and I keep missing when auctions are ending. But I would like a full set of Zoid comics.
There's a set of 45 on eBay at the moment. 45 out of 51. Out of 51. But trust me when I say that completing a collection of Zoid's comics, I know my audio didn't cut out, so I didn't want to be sweary, but getting a full set is by far and away the least painful way of doing it, as I discovered. Despite I started getting individual issues in bits and bobs, and when a full set came, it was a godsend, because some just do not seem to want to turn up as individual issues. It's a pain.
Yeah. Well, if I hadn't have forgotten about that listing, that I would have won that, and I would have had a complete collection. But
I reminded him vigorously.
Yes, I know you did. I know you reminded me. I know. But,
I do know what you mean about picking up the merch, though.
Yeah, your bubble bath.
Yeah, I'm sort of up moon with this.
but I've heard tell that this is kind of what you do when you get to the natural end of the sort of the normal collection. You then start collecting the oddities. I picked up a Captain Scarlet Super Pursuit Vehicle soap dispenser the other day, just because I didn't particularly like Captain Scarlet, but I just thought it was a quirky thing to have because it was different, Yeah. I don't even remember where I got that from now, but yeah, it's just
there's lots of stuff. Yeah, there is lots of stuff I would like.
I'm very far from everything.
Pardon?
Well, Andy was saying that it's weird things like this that you start picking up when you've got to the end of everything. I'm very far from being at the end of everything. It's literally a case of I don't want to collect everything because there's so much of it. So I'm looking for the quirky things, which I know most people won't have in their collections, that I can be like, oh, well, I've got it.
But then again, I don't know about. You probably don't feel this way, but there is part of me that I would like to stop. I would like to be able to just close it off and say, right, okay, I'm done with this now. I'm now going to start focusing on grown-up stuff, kind of thing.
I'm not interested in grown-up stuff.
There is a side of me that that would like to do that. But like I said, there are stuff that I would love, but it's just space and money, and I'd like to get. But these are things like from early childhood I'd like to get back. So there'd be like a Liberator. I'd like me 3 Eagles back. I'd like a Buck Rogers Starfighter.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's all those kinds of. I'd like an Enterprise that fires polos. I'd like a Klingon battle cruiser that fires polos. Yeah, it's all that early stuff, that I would like to get back. There's a fire truck I used to have as a kid that I'd love to get back.
I have one of those as well, actually, which I haven't found it again, but yeah. I do have half a picture in my head. The one that I was quite proud of myself. I don't know if I've got it around here. I can't even remember what it was called now, but it was this little childhood book that had occupied my head for quite a while. And the problem was that the search terms that I was using to try and find it was so generic that it was virtually impossible for me to sort of pin it down. And then one night I was just sort of sat here and I just went, Captain Tom. I thought, I can't be right, but it could be right because the captain was a cat. So it was a cartoon, sort of cartoon drawn cat. And I thought, it's a Tom cat. So he could have been Captain Tom. And when I put that together with an orange that was a spaceship and some other stuff, I came out with it, and it was actually called sort of Captain Tom. It was like a ladybird book. And he flew around with a sidekick in an orange as their spaceship, because if you put in orange spaceship, it doesn't work because it's not looking for an orange that is a spaceship. It's looking for an orange coloured spaceship, which also doesn't help me. But I did so. I managed to start almost immediately once I'd unlocked it. So for me, it's part of the fun is trying to unlock stuff where you just have that little snippet of a memory that's just enough to then fan the flame and sort of get you there in terms of being able to find it. And of course, then eBay for the more obscure stuff is really handy, because if all you've got is a search term, that more often than not will allow you to track it down. Yeah,
I mean, on the book side of stuff, I'd love to get a set of the books that I remember from primary school, which were the Village with Three Corners books.
Oh.
I'd love to get them, like Roger Red Hat, Billy Blue Hat, and things like that. They're all like, primary school reading books, but I just really fond memories of those books. Annuals. I used to have a Space 1999 annual. I'd love to get that back. And, I can't remember which year it is. If you've got them to hand, I'll be able to tell you which one it is.
He's off to look.
He does right. Why not?
Well, Benjamin's joined in.
I say, where is it?
Yes,
Hello.
He collects Funkos, Black Series, and he says that's it, but it's not actually quite true, because he also collects comics and graphic novels.
Right.
And I think that he's forgotten that in this past week he's also started collecting Marvel and DC figures.
Right. I take it Benjamin's a patron of the shop.
He is. Cracking lad.
Yeah.
I'll stick that back up again.
No, it wasn't that one. No, it wasn't that one.
Quivering bloke. Cuddly toy.
No, it wasn't that one either.
I think I'm now fresh out of Space 1999 annuals, I'm afraid. I can do Starfleet, Terrorhawks, Brave Star, When the Wind Blows, Spider-Man, Judge Dredd, Transformers, Thundercats.
I will show you which one it is if it will allow me to.
I need to do a video on my annuals, because I just discovered there are thousands of Thundercats annuals that I don't have because it went into the 90s, and it's like I wasn't even aware that they kept going. Yeah,
that's interesting. That's very interesting.
I've got all sorts in Brave Star, 2000 AD, 1987.
There you go, Andy. It's that one.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's the one that I had.
Yeah, it's definitely neither of those.
So I don't know what year that one is, but yeah, that's the one that I had.
Yeah, so mine's
1999.
So I've got that one on the far left there.
Yeah.
And I've got the one to its right. But there's even more than that though, from the looks of it. Because that one, I've got that one as well.
If I go to the website, will it tell us what year it is?
So I suppose it was kind of
1978.
Yeah.
I was only a few years out there.
Interesting.
1978.
See, that's the other interesting thing as well, because you can come across those in any given sort of antiquarian bookshop, but I have also come across them in shops more like Gareth's,
yeah,
where they have where the shops themselves have a bit of a crossover section. Yes, What? Gareth's shop, you say?
I wouldn't mind.
Don't
You've
bother,
only
you
been
will never
twice.
get a discount.
I know. Unfortunately, I have this thing called a son who doesn't live with me now, so I have to sort of jaunt about a lot on the weekends. Trust me, if I could get across more, I would. It's just tricky. I'm acutely aware that I haven't been of late. So if you want to make me feel guilty, you don't need to, because I already am.
I'm not trying to make you feel guilty at all. I wouldn't do that.
That's my Zoids collecting master list. That is
Right.
It's how because the problem was that because the way I did it, I've now got a full set, a nearly full set, and a bunch of randoms. so I'm still trying to fill in the odd gap.
Okay. So you've got 2 full sets?
Nearly.
Okay.
If someone's very lucky and I do manage to make up the second full set, you might get that one. Ding.
I'm just looking at this set of comics, this set of Zoid comics now.
Yeah.
These 45 issues.
Yeah. For 16.
Well,
There were no bids
Can you not
last
make
time.
a complete set out of those 2?
It depends which ones he's missing.
Have you not looked? No.
Not precisely, no. I mean, I might have some spares that would fill in the gap, certainly.
I'm actually watching it. I didn't know I was watching it. I am watching it. So I must have seen it. I must have seen it at some point.
Yeah, this is. I might be able to do this actually. That's my graphic novel collection in there.
Okay.
A few bits and bobs. There's some Britain Space in there. My Diex is in there. So yeah, it's sort of I got sort of DC on the top, then Marvel, then the I'm going to do a video on the Authority at some point as well. They're sort of Image. I think were they were Image when they were released originally, but then they got absorbed into DC.
Yeah, it's very weird that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was weird.
So were they Image or were they Wildstorm?
Yeah, the Wildstorm, but I think
Yeah.
Wildstorm wasn't in print of Image or vice versa. Sorry, don't mean to.
Broad.
Yeah, there's little Brawn in there. Ironically, he's got one arm missing, and then Outback's next to him has got one arm missing as well.
He's Springer next to him as well.
Yeah, random Springer pickup that was.
See, well, on the bottom shelf was that a UFO interceptor?
Yes,
I can't
and the
believe
shadow.
that someone sold you a Brawn with an arm missing. You should take it
Oh
back.
yeah, some right geezer, yeah. And,
Is that a Britain's
yes,
alien ship?
it is. I've got a few bits and bobs of Britain's. Again, eBay job lots. Just got a few bits just for the memories, you know.
Yeah. I used to have quite a few Britain stuff as a kid as well. I used to love the Britain's Land
down there
Rovers
as well.
and the tractors. They were great with them.
Oh yeah, they did a whole load of stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, I picked up when I was down at Doncaster. I picked up a catalogue, Britain's catalogue, which I've done a video of.
Yes, you did.
That was quite an interesting one to look through as well. Yeah, because was. I do find the catalogues fascinating because they're a much cheaper way to remind yourself of stuff than actually buying stuff.
Yeah, well, I had to look through that, and I was like, "Yep, I had that. I had that."
Yeah.
The one that I do like, I would like to get back is it was a military deco of the helicopter, and on the runners there was like stretchers with 2 wounded soldiers in.
Oh, okay.
It was like green with yellow rotors and that. It was a good. There's an old photograph at my mum's, and we were at the Lido in Penzance, and I'm there sat on this deck chair with it in my hand, just like looking at it.
Right, so you've got a reference point. That's handy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I used to love the Britain stuff and that. Just going back to this question though, quickly, something I would like to collect, but they don't do them yet. You can get them, but they're massively expensive, and I think they've only released 2 so far. But I would like to see if they did some kind of 6-inch scale Battle of the Planets figures. Something akin to Marvel Legends, with posability and that. I'd be all over those. I really would be all over those because Battle of the Planets is something that I'm a huge fan of, but it's a bit of an unrequited love because there's not really that much collectible-wise out there. I've got the comics that was it Image that did the comics years ago? What it got?
Top
I
Cow,
do
which
have
was
one.
part of
Top
it.
Cow?
I do have one somewhere. Yeah, I know another one's
Yeah.
you mean. It
I
fell
got
apart
the
on me
full-
really quickly. I remember actually.
It's what?
It fell apart on me. The comic that I had.
Right.
I don't know why, but
Well, I think Top Cow did. I think they did 2 12-issue runs, and then they did I think it was a 4-issue manga series, and I got those from this local toy and comic dealer. A shonky chap. All he needs is a 3-wheeled yellow Reliant van.
Told you, Gallus Independent Traders.
Yeah.
Git.
But yeah, so and I've got the. Was it Diamond Select that did them figures? What it is? It Diamond
Still pinned
Select?
up on your wall.
Yeah,
Could've-
the ones
could've
that's up
been.
on my walls. I've got the Diamond Select ones, but I don't have the Zoltar, which is curious.
You didn't get them from me.
No, I didn't get them from you. No.
no, the Cosmos reissue.
What's that? Oh, Cosmos.
Hmm. This is another.
I've had that
random
white
event.
and red one.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
I've got him on order. The Mondo, not Mondo.
Well,
It-
I don't
it's
know
the
which I don't know which one this is because this is a Japanese magazine from 2022, and it took me a while to figure out what I was doing there. Then I remembered their books go the opposite to ours. So you open it backwards,
Right.
and then you go
Not
the
an
other
avid
way.
manga reader then.
Not in the original style of it, no. But I think this has got pictures from the an exhibition that was in Japan recently, where they'd recreated a lot of the Starfleet stuff.
Yeah, because it
But-
got destroyed, didn't it? There was
It
a
did in the
studio
fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was indeed. That's my site that retells
Yes.
that.
SFXB, is it?
It is indeed, yes.
For anyone who wants to go and visit it? I said for anybody who wants to go visit.
Super subtle. Nice.
Yeah. I don't get monkeys. That's where it is. It's a great site. There's a lot of good information on there.
But it's been,
In fact,
I mean,
I used to visit that site before I even knew who you were.
you see.
Yeah.
It's been around a long time, that site,
Yeah.
one way or another. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the. I was quite proud of that when I was still maintaining it. It was my major hobby. Because
Yeah.
and the funny thing was, people used to just throw me stuff.
Right.
And it was quite a primitive way that I was doing it. So I had to do it. It was all by hand. None of it was database driven or anything like that. There weren't the tools for it back when I was doing it originally.
Yeah.
Because it came, I think I had my domain about 2001 or 2002.
Right.
So it's been going, it's been up for 20 years.
Mm.
So it's pretty old as websites go, really.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, my
it's-
Vaults of Iacon will be. Well, it's 18 year now. So that'll be 20 year in 2025. But
yeah.
question I want to ask you is, Andy, if you don't mind,
No, go for it.
on the Starfleet side,
Yes.
is it what's the community like here in this country for Starfleet? Is it a big community or is it quite a niche, small community?
Well, that's a very interesting question because there had been mutterings about getting people together. I wasn't at that point in time. I wouldn't be massively comfortable because there were people who I knew were going to rub me up the wrong way if I met them in real life because of reasons,
Yeah, that's everyone for me. I won't worry about it.
But what happened over time, though, is that when Facebook became more of a thing, a Facebook community, I think, has sprung up around it, and I know that a lot of people are getting hold of sort of 3D printed X-bombers and so on because obviously the official toys are few and far between. So I think that there is a certain hub of people on Facebook. How active it is, I don't know.
Right.
But certainly, back in the day, I used to do, sort of long play kind of, fan sub copies of stuff for people. And I would get the odd request, from time to time. Even did T-shirts for the site, a little bit. But again, it wasn't like in massive volumes. And how that then translates to today, because it was early 80s when it was out. So there's only a certain core of people now who will remember it. But then it's been... once the DVD set that I was involved with came out, ever since then there have been re-releases of it elsewhere, and Japan's had re-releases. And I think in mainland Europe there is probably still quite a big following because the Italians got toys, the Spanish got toys. Obviously, Japan did toys, one of which is sat on my shelf over there. So, it clearly did have a European following on top of the British Starfleet, and the tapes did get an NTSC release in the States as sort of compended 1 hour long mixes of 3 episodes together. Yeah. So it did again.
Search for F01.
Yeah. See. No, it wasn't that. That was the thing. They got the only source that I had for the longest time of the actual original material was the NTSC tapes. I bought an American video recorder,
right?
That output in NTSC, ran it through a Canopus AVDC. To convert that into sort of a PAL feed that I then encoded onto my PC so I can make video CDs of the entire series and take screenshots for captures for my site. But that was, apart from laser discs, which was a whole different thing, those were the only way that you could get the entire series in English,
right?
In a sort of vaguely usable format. But you're right, there was Space Quest for F01, Thalion Space Wars, and also a random Thorn EMI tape of episodes 4 and 5.
Right.
But as actual episodes, but together on one tape, which is actually really good quality. It's one of the best quality sources we had for quite a while, because Space Quest and Thalion were slightly cut together. So they sort of messed with the storylines. It wasn't actual episodes, but that was all we had for the longest time. But now there are a lot of different options for getting hold of it. If you're minded to. So
well, I've got that. It was fabulous, wasn't it? The release, the box set. Yeah. When I first saw that advertised, I was like, bang, buy straight. No hesitation.
And if you look on the back of it, my website address is on the back of the DVD.
Right,
and there is an acknowledgement as well because of my involvement, so I kind of sense checked it for them.
Yeah.
But they did a really nice job of it. They were really genuinely committed, and they actually came to me to say, "Do you know who's got the masters?" Because for the longest time we just weren't sure. And the only thing that I knew was the US firm who did the US release called Inoki. So I knew that they had access to the source material because they produced the entire series, and it was kind of that. By going down that route, they were eventually able to, to figure it out and get that particular release done. So yeah,
right. So this studio fire then that destroyed everything.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Right.
Because I actually one of the guys who was involved with the production, and this story is on my website, and the various sketches and so on survived, but apparently all the major models went bye-bye because there was consideration being given to doing another series of it. But of course, once that happened, it just fell away.
When was the fire? Was it in the? Was it in the 90s, early 90s? Was the fire, or was it before that?
No, I think it was just after they finished filming, from what I recall.
Right.
I could be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I sort of reread that article that I did, but basically he sent me about 3 emails, and I just sort of reproduced them on the site, but he just sort of reached out to me and got in touch. A guy called Toru Kubo, I think his name was.
Right.
But I got some nice sort of behind the scenes images and stuff from him, and also like a picture of the Imperial Master with his head off. So he was a bloke in a suit. So because they did that for some of the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
So Diex was either a model or a bloke in a suit, depending on whether or not it was flying in space or was actually landed. So
are you sure about that?
Yes.
So I'm fairly sure that Japanese, they never used man in a suit. They never did that in any of their films or TV.
No. Godzilla is real.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a well-trained lizard.
I've seen the film.
On steroids. Spoilers!
Until he gets a dodgy batch and starts breathing blue fire.
Yeah. Yeah, a lizard on steroids bitten by a radioactive spider. Yeah.
That's Kumonga.
That's Kumonga. Is that a thing?
No, it's a shame. So that stuff at the that exhibition then that was recreated stuff then, wasn't it?
very, very painstaking. There is I think there's a full sort of thing that was released with that, and I'm pretty sure it'll be online by now. Right now, xbomber.co.uk is the sort of the more active site, and he's still putting stuff up. He's also got a game based on the show as well that you can play, which he's been working on for years. But it's good. I keep meaning to download it again, which I haven't done for a while. But yeah, so I chat with him for every now and again as well. So we have a little Starfleet chat every now and again.
Yeah.
But
what's the best way to watch that show now?
Probably still a DVD. Every time I look at it on Amazon, it's not available.
Right.
So a DVD box set. In fact,
are the episodes on YouTube?
For anyone that hasn't seen
Sometimes.
it, how would you pitch it to them?
Thunderbirds in space, but with an ongoing storyline. Basically, it's actually a different animation technique. So there you go. So there's my little website. It is there. See?
Yeah.
So it's it is basically it's what would happen if you took the real people out of shows like Power Rangers and made them puppets instead. That's basically what it is, because this was actually but the thing is it actually takes itself far more seriously than some of those shows. You don't get like random oversized monster of the week every episode. You know, there is a standing enemy and a standing quest, and that is what they're trying to complete by the end of the 24 episode run, basically. So it is pretty coherent. And we got a good English script. It was done by a grown-up, as if grown-ups were going to watch it. So it's not childish. You know, people do die in this, which is really deeply unusual for a kids show at that particular period. But it's done properly episodically. There's intros and outros for every episode. Music's really, really good. It wasn't done by Brian May, but Brian May covered it. So the original track was called Paul Bliss. You can get a CD of his of the tunes from him at the moment, or you could do. I don't know if it's still available, but that was the thing. But this was nice. You got I don't know if I can get into this one, but it's it came with postcards, and they properly tried.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if it's. I don't even know if you can still get this version, because they had. I think they went to a slimline version of it, didn't they? Ultimately, as I recall. I don't know if I can get these out. Oh, there we go. So you got all of this sort of, they got these little postcards and stuff inside the box, which is, as I say, it's more than you might think they would have needed to do. Barry Hercules.
And Barry Hercules, Dark.
Yep. John Lee.
Yeah.
Shiro Hagen.
Shiro, yeah.
Who never, ever, 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 ever takes his helmet off.
Nope.
Ever. So, yeah. But that's a fold-out poster as well that I've never actually folded out.
Right.
So that'll fold out like the jigsaw.
Yeah.
So, but it's all.
Yeah, I loved it. I have a lot of fond memories of watching that as a kid.
Comic booklet. So this has got the look-in strips.
Yeah.
Reproduced in it. I have the look-ins upstairs, of course, because again that was something I scanned for the site many moons ago. But I don't think they were all coloured, so I don't know if someone's actually coloured these for this release. Actually,
right.
I'm pretty sure most of them were black and white in the in look-in. And this was the other stuff. Yeah, this was the other stuff that Fabulous were doing at the time. Red Hand Gang. Do you remember that?
I remember Red Hand Gang. Yeah.
Yeah.
After a quick look, it does seem you can get it on eBay for around about 20 quid.
Yeah, Huckleberry Finn. I remember watching that. Yeah. Raccoon.
Erie, Indiana.
Yeah. I remember watching that.
Erie, Indiana.
What's the other ones? I can't quite make out the other ones. One of Degrassi.
Degrassi Junior High, The Kids of Degrassi Street, Inuyasha, The Raccoons. Remember the Raccoons?
Yeah, I remember Raccoons.
Yeah, lots of Degrassi. House of Rock, Jack Holborn, Skippy, HR Puffin stuff.
Oh, that were HR Puffin stuff. But I think that was late 60s, very early 70s. It were
right.
Jack Wilde, who played Artful Dodger in Oliver with Ron Moody and Mark Lester. That's who were in that.
Oh, there's an advert for the CD.
Right. I might
This
have to
is
see if
it.
I can try and pick up that CD then.
Yeah.
Because it's a great soundtrack. I've got the record, the Starfleet project that Brian made.
Yes.
I've
So
got that.
yeah.
And that's great. That's a when everyone's gone out through today, I put that on, whack it up to 11, and listen away.
But no, I mean, they say there's also. I mean, I haven't looked at this for ages. There's a collector's booklet there. I mean, it's full of stuff. You know, it was crazy amount of detail they put into it. I mean, the menus and stuff on the disc are really good. Maybe I should do a video on that. This is just because.
Maybe.
It's quite interesting though, because
video commentary.
yeah. Well, yeah, I started actually. I did start. In fact, they're
Right.
still up. But I didn't. I only got through the first 6 episodes, I think, in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I ought to redo those. But
How
again,
many
it's
episodes are
you get copyright nobbled and stuff for it. That's the thing. There's
There's
24
24 in
episodes.
there. 24?
Technically speaking, there were 25 originally, possibly plus a pilot, but we got 24. One of those 25 was like a clip show sort of thing. So they didn't bother redoing that for our market apparently. Yes, they are.
And just out of interest, the actor that does the voice for John Lee is the actor Mark Rolston,
Yes.
who played Drake in Aliens.
Yes.
And he
did
also
indeed.
played, what's the character's name? In Shawshank Redemption.
I tried to ask him a question about that on an Aliens live chat the other day. But he didn't respond.
Did he not?
No.
Right. That's a shame.
It's probably not the role he's most remembered for, I suspect. But
To be fair,
but-
he might not even remember it.
no, he may well not do. I mean, it's a long time ago now. Peter Marinka as well did a lot of voiceover stuff for other manga video stuff. So I often pick up on his voice when I hear it. Cool.
It's funny how we
I'm quite
do that,
good
isn't
at
it? Funny how we do that. Not just voices either, but when you're watching something, it's like, I'm sure I've seen that chap somewhere before. And straight out with the phone, checking IMDb.
Yeah. What have I seen them in before?
Yeah.
I've been doing that so much with watching this Korean stuff on Netflix. I'm sure that's so and so from that other show that I watched. So you quickly check. It's like, yes, it is.
Do you know that they've the Babylon 5 animated movies is going to be coming out this summer, Gareth?
Yes. I
I read.
think particularly interested. He's never watched, have you?
No, I've not.
No, I know. That's why I get directed the comment at you rather than Ed, 'cause
Yeah.
I know he's not.
I'm still quite sore over the Lost Tales.
Yeah. I haven't reviewed them yet, and it's on my. They're probably going to be the last thing I review.
It was, I remember paying full price for that on DVD and regretting it as soon as I'd watched them. Yeah,
Nice graphics, but very short.
just not very good at all.
It was done on a shoestring. That was probably even more of a shoestring than normal for them. But that was the last gasp.
And
the
Legend
time
of the Rangers as well.
I've just reviewed that. Wasn't
Have
it
you?
actually? Yeah. Have a look.
Okay.
Wasn't actually as god awful as I remembered it being. In fairness to it,
Fair enough.
the worst weapon system in the universe ever. Yes, but not actually completely god awful. Actually, in fairness to it.
So I think the strength that Babylon 5 has is the quality of the writing, because he's not. Fair enough, he is doing episodic stories, but he's building up such a massive arc, and it shows over the run of the series. When it comes to doing unique episodes or short tales, that is not Straczynski's strong point.
Well, funnily enough, it used to be. This was my super light holiday reading, 400 plus pages of J. Michael Straczynski's autobiography, and I don't know if you've ever attempted this, but his early life was just horrific, beyond horrific, and you start to see why he was so dedicated to getting to where he is now, basically, because he was determined to be the opposite of what he went through, what he was subjected to when he was growing up. So kind of weird reading that in Bright Sunshine, because it really isn't a bright sunshiny book at all, but I've been meaning to get to it for donkey's years. So I've done a video on that as well, because it just...
Yeah, so I started watching it.
Yeah, well, I did it as soon as I got back, because I thought I need to do it while it's fresh in my mind, sort of thing, you know, and because it just was one of those ones where you just think... I mean, as I said on the video, I don't normally do autobiographies or biographies, but it was just like, oh my God, you know, what the hell is going on with this poor bloke? Yeah. Because it's just like this, the crap he had to survive. And he said, and he went through a thought process that I went through as I was reading it, because I just thought, what the hell were the odds of him actually doing that, then that, then that, then that, then that, to actually arrive where he is now? The infinitesimally small odds of him actually making it to that point. Yeah. Given everything that was chucked at him, it's just incredible. So yeah, definitely recommend it, but not if you're already in a depressed state, basically. Because
no. Well, I started watching the video and I turned off purely because I had the wrong expectations going into it. Because I'd seen the cover, the thumbnail, which is Superman.
Yes.
I've read his Spider-Man run.
Okay.
So I thought you were reviewing a run that I didn't know about of Superman.
I understand.
So yeah. I'm watching and I'm
like, he has done a Superman run as well, though.
He has, yes. But I thought you were reviewing that.
I got
or something, or another one. And
I think I've got it now somewhere.
Autobiography. This isn't what I signed up for. I'll come back later.
That's what it said in the title of the video, Gareth.
It did. Literally, all I saw was thumbnail, Excelsior's domain.
It was an honest piece of clickbait, because it says to say becoming Superman on it.
Yes. My bad entirely.
I've thought of an idea for another one of these. This is one of my few remaining childhood toys that I still have. So this was mine from back in the day. So I'm wondering if everyone could think about what their, think back to what their sort of earliest surviving toy is that they've still got.
All my original kids' toys went years ago. Yes, I don't have any of my original kids' toys. I might have some books that I had when I was a kid, and I'll have... That's probably about it.
I was thinking about what Ed was saying, because I think I've been doing something similar to Ed in terms of getting stuff back that was, that went.
Yes.
Because I'm sure we've all been through that process where you meet someone, you move in together, and they say, "What's all this crap? Get rid of it." So we've all had that pain. I can tell by the grim smiles on the faces that that's happened to people.
Yeah. The two bits I've got, the two old. Sorry, there's three old that I've still got. One is I've still got my original Bumblebee, Transformers Bumblebee.
Wow. They're not tough either, those.
No, but he has been modified. I painted him when I was a kid. I painted his windows blue and his headlights blue and tail lights red and that. But he's on a shelf down over there. I think it's Dinky. It's either Dinky or Corgi. It's one of them. But it's a magic roundabout toy, and it's I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the bloke with the beard, and it's a tricycle with a trailer, and the trailer has got a wind-up mechanism, and Zebedee pops out the back. And then the other thing is Harry. I still have Harry, and he's my teddy bear.
Oh.
And my eldest sister bought me that when I was born, and I still have Harry. So he's safely tucked away. Yeah, those are the 3 bits I have. Because like Gareth, everything else just went. It went.
All the Star Wars, all the Transformers. I remember
Yeah.
my Soundwave very fondly. Yes.
Yeah. It was same for me. All my Transformers, all my Star Wars, all my Spectrum stuff. It all just went.
Yeah.
It all went. But
Sad.
these things happen.
These things happen. This is the cycle of life.
It is.
But we have to think about how many kids might have had a fantastic childhood because they ended up with our toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. Or they could have just ended up in your sister's cupboard.
Well, for all I know, that's my brawn.
Yeah.
Could be. I did buy a batch of Doctor Who books off eBay a good few years ago. I decided I wanted to start buying them back again. Bought this pile of Doctor Who books, opened them up, and inside the cover's my name. So I'd sold them at the car boot sale donkeys years ago. That person sold them on eBay.
It was actually your handwriting as well.
Yeah, I bought them off eBay from someone in London.
Wow.
And they've been my books.
Wow. Epic.
Yeah, so I won't part with those just because.
Just because.
They've made their way around the country to come back to me.
Brilliant. I love that. That's excellent. Well, it's funny actually because as well, when I was getting the Zoids comics together, I got one through that had my house number now on it. So I thought, well, that's nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
Wasn't trying for that, but yeah, I'll take it.
But yeah, it's fun how these things work, how they turn out.
Is the chat broken or is mine just not working?
Well, there doesn't seem to have been anything since 10:15.
No.
I don't know how many people's wait, last time I looked, there were only 2 people watching.
Yeah, we're back down to 2 again. It keeps kind of like going up and then coming back down again. We've been boring tonight, chaps.
No, we haven't. We've been scintillating. It's a good word for this time of night.
It's been perfectly fine.
Yes. We can always come back for episode 4, a few tropes.
Are we? So it's going to be a week, 2 weeks then.
2 weeks. Yeah, let's stick to 2 weeks.
Yeah,
fortnightly.
Fortnightly. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be around.
Yeah. I think every week might be a little bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably. Push it to every month. There'll always be that time when one of us can't do it, so it's like, we'll push it back to next week. Then it becomes 5 weeks, then, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't even know yet if there's going to be a collector's archive tomorrow, because I've been struggling all this week with my time because I've just been that busy with work. I'm just really behind.
Well,
and
I'm glad
the episode that I was going to release tomorrow, I've been speaking with the chap that I did it with, and we've decided to re-record it because neither of us were really 100% happy with the topics, and the conversation was fine. It was just the quality. I think there must have been some kind of internet issue because it just hadn't come out right well. So we're going to re-record it, and the one that was going to be after, well, actually, to be fair, the one after it is your episode. So if his had have been tomorrow, yours would have been next Thursday. So it might be that I take this week off and then come back next week with your episode.
Cool.
Which needs editing.
It's a shame this didn't happen during your season break.
What?
Where you've had an issue with an episode. It'd be a bit more fluid for you, a bit smoother.
I mean, I'm not bothered, to be fair. I mean, it's I'm not bothered. I mean, I'd like to release one every week, but there's going to be stuff happens where I can't do one every week or something crops up. So it's it'll be fine.
it's tricky with yours because you've got to do a lot of editing. So even trying to be ahead of yourself is tricky, isn't it? Depending on how quickly you're interviewing people and stuff as well. So
what I try to do is I try to. Sorry, I've just picked up a bit of an echo feed.
Yes.
I try to. So if an episode's going out on the Thursday, I try to start the editing on the Friday evening and then over the weekend.
Yeah.
So if I'm editing, if I've recorded between an hour and a half, say to 2 hours, if that's how long it's been recorded, when I've done the chat or interview, whatever you want to call it, it usually takes me probably about, it can take me anywhere up to 6-7 hours to edit and get it down to about probably about anywhere between 50 minutes to say an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, the one that was going to be tomorrow, that was a relatively short one actually. That only ran about an hour and 10 minutes. So that would have been chopped down to that'd have probably come out about 45 minutes. Would that one? So it would have been a shorter one. Would that? I'll have to have a look through if I can find one that I've recorded that's round about that time. I might be able to get it done tomorrow through the day. Because fortunately, the work that I had on, I've actually finished off today. So I've got, while I think it's next Wednesday now, I've got free before my next batch of work that I need to do. So I could try and...
What do you do for work, Ed? Was it a vast?
Me? I hang around by the docks. Ingratiating myself upon the sailors. Short answer is I don't know. I'm a bit like Chandler Bing. Nobody knows what it is that I do. I couldn't succinctly or quickly describe to you what it is I do.
Okay.
So I work for clients. My clients, or the people that I do work for, are within the project management and construction industries. Okay. So what I do is things like, just briefly, I will do documentation design, proofreading, layouts. I'll also do some marketing design, flyers, advertisements. I'll do desktop surveys, data research, desktop studies. I could do quite a bit of Photoshop work as well for map overlays and things like that. So there's a whole, I mean, that's just scratching the surface. There's way more than that I do, but it's just that I've never really been able to kind of describe it in a short, sharp package of what I do.
So are you freelance then? If you're only getting, you're just getting sort of
I'm self-employed. Yeah, I went self-employed in 2012.
Cool.
So I've been doing it. Is it 11 year? 11 year now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when COVID hit, I'll be honest with you, it wiped me out. The clients that I had. I had 6 clients at that point pre-COVID. After COVID, I was down to 2, basically because 3 decided to retire, and then the other 2 just never got to a point where they were busy enough to outsource some of the work.
Yeah.
So I've picked up another one. So I'm running on 3 at the moment. But it's at the moment it's just still tough at the moment because some of the stuff that I do, people are trying to do themselves and keep it in house, rather than paying somebody extra to do it. So, but it'll be right. It'll work its way out. I mean, I'm exploring other avenues. There's people keep advising me about Patreon and doing certain stuff and things like that, but I've been holding out because I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I feel it's a bit of a begging bowl kind of thing, but we'll see. Anyway, I mean, like I said, I think it was Gareth that mentioned that the collector's archive things that I do. I suppose a good thing would be if I did a Patreon giving access to all the unedited footage. You know, so
it's
people
an easy thing that you can offer.
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
people could watch everything unedited.
Yeah.
But I also have designs.
Or earlier. Yeah.
I have all designs for T-shirts that I've done as well, and posters and banners and things that are just sat on my hard drive gathering dust that's never seen light of day. You know, so I mean, there's things I could put them on a mug or a T-shirt or.
Well,
you know.
I mean, given what you just described about your background, if you have a look at those, are Babylon 5 displays.
All right, yeah.
And as I recall, that's based on artwork that's been sent into them, which they then put onto sort of metal sheets.
Yeah.
You know, so I assume that you could generate revenue in through something like that as well. If you've got artwork that you can actually give to them and they can then sort of, you know, take and reproduce, then you get a cut of it. I mean, you know, like that thing like this T-shirt, it's from QWERTY. I don't think it's officially. It's not an official thing, but you know, people obviously get around it in cunning ways. Like they don't actually mention the character's name, but they don't use any branding that would upset people. You know, so you know there are ways and means, I guess. So you know,
well, it's like this T-shirt. I did this T-shirt myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's just Spectral Horace ZX, which is my other alter ego. That's that I do all my Spectrum and Sinclair and retro gaming stuff on and that. And you know, so I just did like, you know, with the Horace and the background and, you know, just slightly modified it because apparently there's some guy, I think, ended up claiming or buying the rights to Horace. And he's a bit arsey sometimes, so I've been led to believe, you know. But
just give him a mouth.
You what?
Just give him a mouth. It's a different
It
character.
won't be Horace then. It won't be Horace. My boy is Horace.
That's the thing.
Closed mouth.
Yeah, closed mouth that you can't see. He's got unusually small pursed lips.
He also does a fantastic job of designing flyers for shops.
Who does? Horace?
You does.
Me? Oh, me.
You does.
Yeah. I did a job for some guy who's got a shop a while ago.
Yeah, I've distributed several.
And the magazine advert.
More thousands of them. And the
magazine
one as well, yes.
Yeah. So it's just. But I'm not one to blow my own trumpet, especially not at my age. I'll fall off a chair. But yeah, so it'll be fine. It'll all work out. It'll be fine. So we just plod on.
Indeed. Grand.
So if you've got any signs that you want designing, or any ideas that you want designing, you can do them for you.
Or if you want anything proofreading or designing or documentation. But no, it's not about that. We're talking about collecting stuff. That's when I start adulting.
I do think that people have a big interest on what goes on in your life as well.
What's that? Sorry, guys.
I said I think a lot of viewers will have it. Well, of the three we've got, will have an interest in what goes on in your life as well.
Oh, yeah, I do get that.
Everyone's a nosy bugger. There we are. We've just lost those three. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch.
But I'm quite. I don't know. I like to keep me cards close to my chest on that side.
Private life.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
There's a big differentiation between that, and I'm quite selective who I let in on, you know, let in the circle or whatever you want to call it, kind of thing.
I think it's a case of knowing what it is you don't mind sharing with people and keeping it to those barriers.
Yeah.
Keep everything else off the screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's why I could never be like celebrity or anything, or someone famous or anything like that, because it'd just be an absolute nightmare. I'd hate it, you know. It just
in the last few weeks, I've had quite a lot of emails, and I dare say it's because of the channel, because it's specifically referencing YouTube.
Right.
Telling me that they can grow my clientele, they can grow my audience.
Standard issue spam.
I don't think so. Thank you very much. I'll carry on as I am doing. Thank you. If you really want to grow my audience, just say, have you seen this guy? That's as much as I need.
Yeah.
I don't need to do what you're asking me to do.
I'd like the wealth, but just not the fame. The wealth would be fine. You know.
The wealth would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, you always get those people that say, yeah, but money don't buy you happiness. But I find it interesting. It's always rich people that tell you that money doesn't buy you happiness.
And they always seem happy.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. I'm already miserable. So I'd rather be rich and miserable sat in an Aston Martin than poor and miserable sat in a bloody Volvo. Not that I have a Volvo.
Everyone has a Volvo.
I don't have a Volvo.
I have a Volvo. I've got a Volvo, a Ford, several of each actually. They're about this big.
Has Andy frozen, or is he reading something?
No, I'm here.
He's there. He's still there.
I'm just listening.
We're riveting.
Volvos.
Why? What? We're a pair of frogs.
Riveting, not
Oh,
riveting.
riveting.
Rivet.
Anyway, I'm looking at the time. It's 11:15.
Yeah, it is.
It's time for bed, isn't it?
It is.
It rather is, yes.
Well, thank you both for joining me again.
Not you're welcome.
I look forward to 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks for the next one.
Yeah.
See if we can think of some interesting topics to talk about.
Indeed.
I want each of you to bring something to the table.
I did!
You do? Yes, I know. I said each of you.
Giving us homework. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I won't bother. It'd be just easier and quicker to duck detention.
Fair enough. And remember, viewers, you can pitch in as well. That's what the live chat's for.
How many viewers we got at the minute?
At the moment, we've got 3. It sounds bad, but I mean, last week I think we had 8. I think.
Right.
But I mean,
it'll go up and down. Your stats will tell you at the end what the peak viewing was and stuff. So
yeah, but it does. It sounds bad, but when you look back at it, it's like the first episode. We had about 8 people watching, and it ended up with 142 views. It's not massive, obviously. I'm not up there with PewDiePie, and I don't think I will. I don't want to be.
The thing is, though, wait, when you think about the statistics of it all, I can't remember the exact figures, but I do remember reading. This was specific to Instagram, but I mean, I suppose you could apply it to other social media platforms. When you consider how many people use Instagram and how many people look at stuff, if you get, say, 5 or even maybe 6 likes on your post, the statistics of that happening are amazing. Yeah. So you've done well to get that many likes. So some people looking and saying, I've only got 2 likes. It's like, no. Consider the statistics of you getting those likes. You've done all right. Don't sweat it, kind of thing. But that's if you do it for that. I mean, I must admit, me personally, I don't get a monkey. I do it because I want to improve myself and enjoy my hobby. If people come and watch it or like on it, fair enough. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But
it's a strange one because I started the YouTube thing just as another tool for the shop, so that it can be used as it wants. It's already become more than what I wanted it to be, and I'm not even doing anything that I want to do yet.
No, I can understand that.
And I think I'm spending far too much time with the delivery videos and the what did I buy videos than what I actually want to do with it. But people seem to be responding well to those.
It's a
and I've been a roll for my own back.
Well, but as you say, it's kind of how much at the end of the day, how much is that sort of marketing actually worth to you as the business?
Exactly.
If you can contribute sales to it, then
yeah, exactly. I do, and it is working. So I'm going to keep going with it. But now I've got at least 2 videos that I've got to do every week now. I've got a delivery video and I've got a what did I buy video.
But what I think what a lot of people don't appreciate is that a lot of people who are very successful actually have quite significant teams sat behind them.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Whereas, I'm a one-man band. Presumably you're a one-ish man band, so it's kind of, it's tricky.
Yeah. That's why I find this so much more interesting, because there's someone else I'm interacting with that's helping me along.
Well, I think that's also a draw for people to come and watch the videos as well. So, yeah.
Benjamin wants rid of us.
Yeah. Benjamin's going.
I mean, he's right. I mean, it's better to. It is better to to do these things with someone else, because I mean, nobody wants to watch you, knocking one out yourself. On.
Speak for yourself.
That's on his OnlyFans account, so we'll not go there.
Yeah. See, that's what you get. That's the result of a childhood of watching Carry On films.
Carry On. I haven't seen Carry On films in years.
I've got the box set. I love them. They're fantastic.
Oh, I love them. I loved them growing up. There were one or two that my mum would never let me watch as a child. Emmanuel was one of them. But
you don't want to watch Emmanuel's rubbish anyway.
Yeah, but
you don't
pretty
want to watch
much
that.
everything else she'd let me watch, and I used to love them.
Yeah. By the time they got to Carry On Emmanuel, that was made at the time that the Timmy Lee movies were getting popularity. So like the Confessions of a Window Cleaner and Confessions of a Holiday Camp and things like that. With Robin Asquith in. Yeah. So they were, which were like soft core porn, basically. They were like Carry On films, but they just, rather than insinuating, they actually showed you. They were gaining in popularity. So the Carry On Emmanuel was like the sort of like they're trying to get onto that bandwagon with that kind of thing, but it failed miserably when it came out, and that was the last one then until Carry On Columbus.
Yeah. I remember reading something a while ago that there was talk of them making a new Carry On film. I mean, today,
that was
of political correctness. It's like, why bother?
No, that was. I'll tell you how long ago that was. That was going to be made to be released in year 2000.
Wow.
Oh, I can remember. No, I mean more recently.
Right.
There's been talk of a new one being made, and I was like,
yeah. So it was going to be called. It was going to be called Carry On London.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was going to be the title for it, but
fair enough.
But yeah, the earlier ones are the better ones. Carry On Cleo and Carry On Screaming.
Carry On Screaming is one of the best. Frying tonight.
Yeah.
Right then, guys.
Okie doke.
Right.
Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you again in 2 weeks.
Yep. We'll catch you in 2 weeks' time.
Everyone who's tolerated us as well. Cheers.
Yep. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Take care, yeah?
All the best. Good night.
Cheers.
Good night.